Here we are at PDAC 2025, and this is a story I've been really looking forward to learning more about. We're with Derek Pattinen. Please tell us the name of your company.
Sure, it's Nations Royalty.
Nobody's heard of Nations Royalty, but it's one of the best stories out there. It is a Indigenous managed royalties company for royalties in Canada. Tell us more.
Yeah, so a lot of people haven't heard of us yet. We're new. We're IPO'd in June of 2024, so been around for a little over half a year. And we are Canada's largest majority Indigenous-owned public company, which is definitely makes us very unique. In June 2024 was the first time in Canada's history where an Indigenous group took assets that they owned and put it inside of a publicly traded company in an Indigenous control position. So that's never been done before, and that's really what makes us different from not just the other mining royalty companies out there, but really any publicly traded company in Canada today.
That's a great story. Even just that part of it is great. But now you have plans to grow it.
Yeah, exactly. We're employing like the classic mining royalty business model, which in a nutshell, it really takes advantage of the fact that as you pool royalties together, they tend to become a lot more valuable because it doesn't change the return of the portfolio, but it does start lowering the risk, particularly
It stabilizes cash flow.
Yeah, exactly. So we're employing that same model, but by being the only majority Indigenous-owned vehicle in the space, also majority Indigenous management team, majority Indigenous board of directors, we're looking at the Indigenous royalty space, right? Which is, as a mine's moving forward in Canada, typically it'll enter into an impact and benefit agreement with that local Indigenous group or multiple local Indigenous groups. There's many things in that agreement, hunting rights, fishing rights, things to do with the environment, but there's often a financial payment from the mining company to the Indigenous group in that.
Right.
And more recently, they've actually started taking the forms of royalties, payment structures that have leveraged to the metal prices.
Right.
And so we at Nations Royalty are looking to partner with other Indigenous groups to start pooling all or a portion of those royalties together into a majority Indigenous-owned vehicle to essentially have the Indigenous peoples of Canada create a mining royalty company of their own.
And I'd imagine it's easier for you, coming from an Indigenous background, being able to speak to other First Nations because you have the same feel. You lack a perspective that you have a perspective I probably lack.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful, obviously owing to Canada's history in that. The Indigenous peoples even all across Canada, if you're Indigenous, you have a shared history and a lot of overlap there.
Right.
And so, I'm myself, I'm a member of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte First Nation, Tyne-Denega, about a couple hours east of Toronto here.
Right.
And our whole management team is like that. Like our CFO is Métis, our VP of Corporate Development is from the Tahltan Nation.
Right.
We've got Stephanie Azak, she's our Corporate Secretary from Nisga'a Nation. We've got Sam Bresden, who's Cree and Métis as well. So we're all coming together and working together, and we've all got very strong passion for this company. It's a pretty bold vision.
Not just passion, you have education to get you here. You're a mining engineer.
Yeah.
You have other geology skills within the team.
Exactly. We're a mining house. This company was really founded by the Nisga'a Nation plus the Fiore Group, which is a well-known mining franchise. It was founded by Frank Justra,
Right.
who's was recently inducted into the Mining Hall of Fame. Very successful mining entrepreneur, among many other things. And he was also the founder of Wheaton Precious Metals, which is the largest mining royalty company in the world. So
he probably knows.
So he knows a thing or two how to build a good quality mining royalty company. And we've also got Alec Morrison on our board of directors, who used to be the chairman of Detour and a CFO at Franco-Nevada, which is the second largest mining royalty company in the world. So we're good there. And then on the geology front, our interim CEO, Rob McLeod, he's the only non-Indigenous member of our senior management team.
Right.
But he has a geology background, and he's been in the mining space for a long time. He's been working in the sector quite a bit. He's had some good success, and he knows a lot about geology. And then I myself, I've been in mining and mine finance my whole life. My undergrad was mining engineering, and then I got my CFA, which is like a financial designation, and I worked 15 years of mining investment banking at Canaccord, where I finished up as a director on a banking team in Vancouver. And over that 15 years, unlike most bankers, I actually didn't work too much in financings. I was focused on mergers and acquisitions.
Right.
And I got very lucky, joined a very high-powered team there. And over the 15 years, got to work on over 30 completed M&A deals, over $20 billion of equity value, probably about 15 of that in the gold space. So I know a lot about, gold valuations, in particular, what what a gold-focused mining royalty company, what sort of multiples that can trade at.
Are you focused on gold?
We'll look at everything at the end of the day, but ideally, I think we would like to stick with a gold focus. Doesn't mean everything in the portfolio is gold, but a gold-focused royalty company is what creates the highest multiples. Like if you look at the 20-plus mining royalty companies today, the 6 largest are all gold-focused, and that's largely because you can get the higher multiples.
So that brings me to the key question: what are you doing at PDAC?
So we're here to help get the story out there because it's still a fairly new story. Most people haven't heard of us. It's a good chance for us to talk to investors. Also because there's a lot of Indigenous groups that are in town this week, and that's helpful to us as opposed to necessarily traveling to all over perhaps the corners of Canada to meet with these Indigenous groups in person. You come into a conference like PDAC and we can get 3, 4, 5 meetings with different Indigenous groups that are all right here. So I'm always happy to talk to investors and want to talk to investors, obviously being a publicly traded company, but a big advantage to us being here this week is to talk with more Indigenous groups, because this company in 2025 is all about execution and bringing on new Indigenous partners to start get going on building out this multi-Indigenous group owned, bigger, more diversified royalty portfolio. That's where all the value is going to be created, is going from 1 group to 5 groups and beyond, right? So,
cool story. I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to keep an eye on you. I'm going to learn more. Thank you, Derek, for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Peter.